Hey, my beautiful angel, it's Josie Grouse, and welcome to Soul Awakening channel. Today, I wanted to share with you 5 things to know about this upcoming new moon energy on March the 2nd. And so many things are happening in the world, so much disturbance, there's a war. There is also the leftover pandemic news. So, what do we need to know on this journey of life? Here's what angels want us to know. Let's talk about the conflict in Ukraine, because a lot of energy this month will be directed globally towards the resolution. Resolution is the key, and what angels are saying is very likely that the energy of the conflict will remain until April, almost until the end of April. But we are doing the right thing in finding the solutions. Now, so many even world leaders will be inspired to step forward and bring a peaceful resolution. That's the almost the intention that we want to see happening in the world. We want to see these changes. And it's not an easy resolution, but this conflict will bring so much peaceful energy. People around the world will meditate. So many people send loving thoughts to people in Ukraine, people in Russia. And also, it will be affecting us individually, us human beings. We will think about the world that we are creating. Are we creating a peaceful world? Or are we really still holding on to these old ways of competition and domination and always taking the path of struggle, of war, of destruction? Or in our world today, we can find peaceful resolutions. This is why the conflict is happening, to open our eyes, to be very clear about the situation that we are creating with our unconscious action. But this is a different world today. So the war is not going to be the same war of, let's say, 1941. It's a different kind of energy because we are evolving as human beings. Everything is transparent, and angels are telling us nothing is ever hidden. And in our world today, whatever was secret almost instantly becomes visible. And this war will help us to understand the aspects of ourselves where we are struggling. When we're denying love to people around us, where we compete, where we're holding on to our old ways of being, it's all about releasing and returning to peacefulness. So what angels want you to know, first of all, understand that this world is like a surface of the ocean. And sometimes the surface is really peaceful and calm, and the sun is out and it's beautiful and glorious. And sometimes it's stormy. Sometimes there are waves and sometimes there are tsunamis. It's just nature of life. And your job is not to try to solve the problem of the waves or try to control the weather that's beyond your control. But what you can do, you can understand that in the boat, in your safe place, in your inner peace, you can be at peace and travel through storms. You can find in your heart love and compassion instead of feeding the monsters of negativity and conflict and war and death. We want to focus on love and peacefulness. That's how we move through the storm and we remain calm and remain peaceful. The events of the world will continue, and you will see so many very interesting things within the next 2 weeks. But till the end of April, middle of April, you will hear a lot of news about Ukraine, about Russia, about many different world situations and how the world leaders are actually coming together. And even those who did not want to participate in this conflict will almost be forced to join the peaceful movement, they will have no option, because that's where we all benefit. There are no sort of border lines between countries anymore. We are just one global family. And one of the things that we want to understand is that well-being of one country, it's actually well-being for all of us. Conflict in one place will affect everybody on the planet. We are a planetary system. We are human beings. We're just one species. We are a human race. And here for us, it's important to understand our own values, what grows us, what keeps us in the space of evolution of consciousness and space of healing, love, letting go of the ego domination programs that were installed into the consciousness and psyche of humanity for many thousands of years. So we are dealing with the waves on the ocean, but we are also conscious about how we can navigate this path through the storm and become peaceful, loving beings. That's what we were created in the first place. We were all created from the source of love. And if this is not an experience for you, you will find a lot of understanding of your own journey as you're going through it by returning to love. Relationships. So number one, I wanted to start off just with the Ukraine and Russia news, because I know many of you are wondering what will happen. Things will resolve, and not as easily and quickly as many of us want, but they eventually will. So looking forward to middle of April, where things and then global forces will come to play. Number two, you need to know about this new moon energy, because it's affecting us individually. It's not just us individually, also the relationships that we have with the world, relationships with others, your personal relationships. Now, within the last week or so, you may have experienced turbulent relationships. And that's because the energy of the planet is going through certain cycles, which allow you to look very deeply into your personal relationships. Many of you will be asking questions. Why am I with this person? Why am I so attached to this relationship? This is not nurturing to me, and I feel very unhappy in this particular job, relationship, situation. I don't feel like I belong here. I don't feel myself. I don't feel good. I don't feel at peace here. You will be asking a lot of these questions. And the answer is, again, within you. The answer for you is to be completely honest and look at your life, at your past experiences. Notice the karmic patterns. These relationships, they're not new. They are just reruns of the old shows, the old situations that you have experienced, because that's all patterns. They're all just behaviors that are happening. There are your clues when you're conscious and you begin to ask these questions. Why these relationship issues are haunting me is because of these karmic patterns. This new moon, remember, the new moon always brings new opportunity. And it brings you the opportunity to get an idea, to become so clear about what you want and put it out into the universe. So the universe will begin to work with you and show you many different things that you need to understand and open many doors for you. But also about letting go. You are letting go of the old. And not just you, we're all letting go of the old. And you see why these forces are coming to play, the disturbances on the surface of life just becoming so shaky, because they are threatened. They don't want to go. They don't want to leave their position on earth, but they have to. They don't work anymore. And the same way, the old patterns in you, they're shaken. They're shaken to their core. And you also will have to choose. You'll have to make really serious serious choices when it comes to your relationships. Number 3, what you need to know about this new moon energy. And we talk about consciousness. We talk about the evolution of consciousness. We talk about not just the material world. We are also talking about the spiritual principles of life and what is happening. And if you watched my videos, beginning of 2022, and predictions for this year, what angels were saying at the time is this year will almost put us in on the angle of spirituality. We will be lost at crossroads, not knowing where to go. And our natural desire at these crossroads is to choose a spiritual perspective. If you have not yet developed a spiritual perspective, you will develop one. You cannot hide from this. You cannot just run away and say, well, I belong to this group and I belong to that group. You will have to sit down and then begin to ask yourself, who do I respond to? Do I respond to events of the world and triggers? Or I can find within me the answers and truth. And maybe this whole game that is being played out is not real. And it's happening and it's of a magnitude, but is it real? Like, you have to ask these questions. Then why am I here? What's the purpose of my life? You will have to ask these questions. That's the path of 2022. You will have to go back to spiritual solutions to your problems, not just your problems of the world, the planetary issues and conflicts. We're looking for spiritual solutions because the material solutions, they have such impermanence or just not they're not powerful enough to give us the strength to move on into the world that we are creating. So the spiritual solutions, you'll have to go and look for these answers. And the answers are in spiritual literature. They're also in your heart. They are in your heart. So think about it. And then the spiritual perspectives will help you to heal, to resolve any inner conflicts, and also to give you confidence for the future. All right, so number 4, the fourth thing that you need to know about this new moon. Maybe it's number 5 already, kind of lost track. Okay, let's do number 4. Number 4 is for you this time around is to become aligned with your highest values. Is for you to have clarity about your path. And the clarity it's easier than it sounds. If you feel confused, if you feel like, I don't know what is my purpose? Why am I here? What is that next step of my life? Is this my job? Is this maybe my family? Where do I go? And all of these kind of burning questions in you, you will have to make a choice and choose one path. Do not multitask. Okay, do not have many different teachers, teachings, and the divided attention will divide your energy. So stick with one path. You will need, it's like, there are many pathways and they look very exciting and tempting, but there's this one narrow path that you have to go through because it holds the treasure that you are seeking, that your soul is seeking. So you will have many distractions, many things that you will have sort of a visual temptation to try, or okay, maybe it's my new job opportunity, or this could be my next best thing. They want you to make it super simple instead of multitasking. They want you to stay on this one path because you are going to be traveling against a pretty narrow path. And if you are divided in your energy and attention, that you listen to a lot of teachers, a lot of teachings, some of them are conflicting. You listen to this guru and then you listen to someone else and they say, okay, try this mantra. And then someone else is telling you, okay, try this, try something else. And instead of focusing and developing one skill or one level of awareness, you are divided and you spread out. And then at the end of the day, you're not at will at where your attention goes, because anything else outside of you controls you. They're asking you just for this time around is to focus on a narrow path. Choose a teaching, a strategy, maybe just one meditation path, one strategic design to move forward in your life, and stick with it. Okay, so just stick with it. Keep on going one direction and keep your eyes on your path. Keep your eyes just looking forward. There is I forgot the story who told this story about climbing Mount Everest. And Mount Everest is, it's one of the most challenging climbs that you can ever experience on this planet. So there are areas on Mount Everest. They're called death zones. And in a death zone, if you're walking as a group, if someone falls in the death zone, you are not helping them. You cannot save them at that point in time, because you are barely focused on saving yourself. And what you do, you take it very slow, just like one step at a time, one step at a time. When you pass through that zone, and your focus is only right this moment on your next step, once you pass through these zones, then your vision becomes much more relaxed and you can focus on your further road. There are moments in our lives where we're passing through a narrow path, and in the narrow path you are required, and you know it in your heart, that you cannot divide your attention. You cannot just rush and save everybody. You cannot just say, okay, who needs help, because I'll be there for you. And then you decide, like, you have so many outstanding issues in your own personal life. Maybe you have situations and serious things, maybe something to do with your health, something to do with a money situation. And by ignoring your own kind of patches that you need to work on, you will be eager to rush and help someone else. This is the moment, this is the time for you to step it forward, one little baby step at a time. And then you pass through this passage. And then by taking care of yourself, by taking care of your needs in this moment, then you are so much farther ahead of a lot of people on this planet, because you have learned, you have focused, you have invested your time and energy to keep moving through this narrow path. You didn't get stuck. You didn't try to save the world, which is just not in your control. You have no way of controlling or changing these events, but you felt like, okay, you needed to do that. This is the path for you to travel, and the path for you to take this one step at a time. So, and finally, what they want you to do is to shift your perspective. That's number 5. When you find yourself struggling, when you find yourself just having so much on your head, on your mind, that means that you have fallen asleep. This is energetic sleep. And become aware of that. Okay, I'm looking at the negative perspective. Maybe I'm just talking about this one issue that is really bothering me, and I'm trying to protect my point of view. They're asking you, do not take any views. Do not be pro or against anything. This is so important. The way for you to harmonize yourself and also bring harmony into the world around you is by having no preferences. So when you shift your perspective, you find yourself moving one way or another, defending your point of view. This is where you lose your power. And eventually you will have to pay the karmic consequences for that. So return to the state of neutrality. State of neutrality where you can only give a loving perspective from your point of view. We're all God's children. No one is better than other. No one is worse than other. We're all here. This is not a permanent journey for all of us, and we're all here. We're all imperfect, and we're perfectly perfect because we're made in the image of the divine. At the same time, while we are here, this is not a perfect world, and we are here to help to harmonize it by harmonizing ourselves. So here you go, my beautiful angels. 5 things that you need to know about this new moon energy, March the 2nd. I hope that you are safe. I hope that you have love in your heart, and every day you wake up with gratitude and smile on your face, knowing that you are loved. And having that attitude, you are helping the world. And your loving attitude, your thoughts of happy, joyful attitude towards life, that's what makes a difference. That what helps everybody. It helps me. That helps each one of us. And I love you. I'm sending you so much love. Be well and blessed. I'll chat with you soon.